the second of a three-match homestand. What kind of match are you expecting this weekend versus Philadelphia?
A very similar opponent in how they, in some ways, in how they go about the game. It's going to be physical. There'll be fast attacks. They are well drilled, and arguably they're the best team in the league. So we'll have to be at our best. But hopefully we learn a little bit from that Vancouver game, and in some ways that preps us for, again, a high-level team that's playing at their best. And so we learned some lessons from Vancouver, and we'll give it our best shot. But we're looking forward to getting back out there. We're not happy about the Vancouver game and how that unfolded. Looking back on it, if I can for a second, it's never as bad as you think, and things again didn't go our way. It's offsides on the second call, which is starting to be a theme against us. It's not an excuse. That didn't really end up being the difference, but it certainly doesn't help when guys are offsides and that's not being called. For the second goal leading up to it, but again, we gotta shake that one off very, very quickly and focus on a very good team.
Thanks. So, start with Jorge in the room.
Good morning, Coach. Like you said, learning lessons from the Vancouver game. The last time you played Philadelphia was nearly 6 years ago. The Dynamo last played them 3 years ago, and the last time you faced them, your assistant coach Colin was on that lineup. Just what do you remember about that Philadelphia side? They don't have Jim Curtin now, but what can you speak about them?
Yeah. So last time I coached against them, Colin was on the team.
He started against you.
Well, that makes me feel fairly old, but listen, I got a lot of love for this organization. They have done, I think, as good as any club, pound for pound, dollar for dollar. In the history of this league, for me, they're number one as far as what they've done. Whether it's the academy, whether it's again points per dollar spend on players. Again, they from a recruitment standpoint, they get more right than wrong. And again, I'm also friends with Jimmy, so I'm a little bit biased on what he did there as well. But Bradley picked up and gave them some new life and I guess some new ideas, but it's still kind of, again, fast attacks getting on you, and they're well drilled, just like Jimmy's teams were. So it's again, I got a lot of respect for him. But again, that's exciting. That challenge to play the best team in the league right now for our group, to make a statement and to have a chance to respond, I think is a wonderful opportunity for us. And I think if we take some of the lessons and apply them to this game, I think we give ourselves a chance.
And then not a lot of time off between the last 3 games, but how have you regrouped with your team? Conceding 7 goals in 3 games.
Yeah, the conceding this many goals over the last 6 weeks is unacceptable, and it's not where we want to live, and it's not where we can live, because we're not putting up numbers to counter the goals that we give up. Historically, we've been one of the best defensive teams in the league, and we got to get back to that. Again, I know some personnel has changed. And I know we're still figuring kind of things out here. It's been a revolving door in that back line, but that's no excuse. We can be tougher to break down. We can do it more collectively. We can bring numbers. We can be more clear and gutsy in our box defending, and we just haven't done that enough. So we'll continue to work on that, and hopefully some of the offensive stuff comes around.
Thank you, Coach.
I'll start with Diego. Go ahead.
Morning, Ben. Looking at Philadelphia's physicality, especially on their defensive side, you mentioned how you could hope that the offense, could get some goals. Can you talk to me a little bit about any tactical ideas or any changes that you might make?
I mean, what do you want me to give you? our game plan. It's hard to do that. I'll say this. When I talk about lessons from Vancouver, to me in the first half it was men against boys. And that, if that's the case again, we'll lose this game. If we don't have the right intensity to this game, even more so than the Vancouver game because of the way Philly goes about it, and because of the amount of duels and the vertical play and the green zone occupation. This is going to be things happen very quickly, and this team comes on you quickly on the defensive end, and they come on you offensively very, very quickly as well. And that lends to a lot of duels, a lot of combination play, a lot of reactions, and we're going to have to do a good job, certainly in the physicality, and also it's a game of being alert because things happen so quick against Philly, and it'll be it'll be a tough match. But as far as the tactics of it and how we plan to go about them, I'm not necessarily going to have that discussion with you. Sorry.
No worries. And taking a little bit of a look at the bigger picture, you guys are only 3 points behind the play-in line, and you guys still have a very big possibility of getting 6 points out of a possible 9 in this homestand. What are some things that you could possibly use to like motivate your players and kind of keep that optimism going despite of a couple of rough losses?
Well, with all this stuff, and it's very hard. It's very hard for you guys and fans and us, maybe more so, is to take some of the emotion out of this. And over the last 4 games, we got the floor wiped with us against one of the better teams in the league. Wasn't our best night. I thought we played Salt Lake very well and deserved more out of that. And then the 2 games before that, we won. So all in all, that's about us right now. And now we have a chance to respond against a very good opponent. Again, maybe the best team in the league. And again, we're excited about that, and we're excited about having 2 games at home. And if we can pull those off, I think we're in a good spot. But this is what it's going to be. This is going to be the dance throughout the rest of the year. We're not going to go to number 2, right? So there's going to be ups and downs, and we just gotta kind of stay even keel and make sure. Again, I'm doing a good job of taking the temperature and what these guys need as far as preparation. Whether it's carrot, stick, and the group's together, the culture's fine. We just gotta slug it out a little bit more, and I still believe this group can get into the postseason. And if we do, we'll be on an upwards trend, and that's been the case all year. Even though we've lost 2 in a row, I still think there's been an upwards trend of this team. Maybe the bar was set low early, but we're moving in the right direction. And so now, as we continue to do that and still incorporate some guys, it's about grabbing some points and getting better on the defensive side, not giving up as many goals. And I think we gives ourselves a chance.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, Sam, go ahead.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah, tough one midweek. We've dwelled on that scoreline, 3-0 against Houston. That another one, Peter Pitt to swallow. Let's look at the brighter side. You talk about the upward trend. Against San Diego, we saw a very different team, a very different mentality. You score, they score, and at the end of the day, you still pull that game today. How do you bring that consistency back to this team? Because that's what the fans want to see, that fighting spirit and that energy. How do you bring it back to this team against Philadelphia Union coming to town?
It's a good question, Sam. The irony of the San Diego game that you guys keep going back to, which I've forgotten about, we made plays there. We made big plays, right? The only difference between that game and the Salt Lake game is we made the plays that mattered on the offensive end. Is that fair? If we scored 3 goals, if we scored our 3 chances in San Diego, we'd be saying the same thing. if Anali finished his chance and we're 1-1 in the other night against Vancouver, we're saying the same thing. So some of this comes down to just making plays, Sam. You know, I don't think we're, you know, the San Diego game was this, it mattered more then than it did in the Salt Lake game, right? I think we had a bad half against Vancouver and it cost us. And I'll take blame for that. But, you know, I think we dissect these things, I think, sometimes too much when it's just about, you know, a defensive play here or there that we let ourselves down and not finishing out some plays. So I wouldn't complicate it.
I know that you don't divulge your tactics going into this game, but against Vancouver, when you made that tactical change of Dorsey, Sebastian Kovacic, and the other player, when they came on board, that was a breath of fresh air, a vista of life to the team. Would that give you something to think about, you know, bringing Dorsey back to the starting?
Well, we always had a Wednesday, Saturday. So there was always a plan to make changes and deal with these two games, right? But to put our best foot forward against Vancouver in that moment, because we had plenty of rest. Again, when we talk about taking a grain of salt with subs coming on, it was 3-0, right? So they didn't have to score anymore, did they? So they sit back, and then we are on the offensive. So some of this is game state as well. So we have to look through that. But yes, the subs came on and gave good energy, as they should. That's what subs do. That's what they're paid for. If you come in, you're supposed to give good energy. And when you're down, you're supposed to go attack the game. And sometimes when you're down up 3-0, you shrink in Vancouver. And you don't need to go 4-0. You hold and you change formations to a 5. Or they bring more defensive players on. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. But they did bring energy. They did bring combative nature. And I wouldn't be surprised, to answer your question, Sam, to see one or two of those guys in this next match.
All right, any fitness concern ahead of the game against Vancouver, against Philadelphia?
Thank you, Sam.
Jesus, go ahead.
Hey Ben, you mentioned earlier how the first game, the game against Vancouver was men versus being of my boys. Have you felt any other time this season where that was the case, where you thought that the team just didn't play like men?
Not necessarily. You know, I think the Miami game, we just weren't ready for that one from every aspect. They were just more well-oiled than we were. We weren't there, right? And in some ways, maybe we're not where Vancouver is right now. Jesus, sometimes we just got to be honest. That's a good team, man. That's they were in the CONCACAF finals. And they just lost 2, and they were angry. And they played at a level that was, I think they played really well, right? So sometimes it's about giving credit and not always putting blame on ourselves, and credit a really good team that's put together and experienced and had an axe to grind. What I was frustrated with is where was our axe? Like we didn't have. They have a lot more points than we do. So that is what's disappointing. That there was a half where we didn't look like the hungrier team and the more desperate team. And that's the foundation. That's where our floor. We have to live there, and we just weren't there. And that's defensive. That's offensive. There's a lot that goes into that. There's following the game plan within that men versus boys aspect as well. And again, I'm part of that. But I'm done talking about Vancouver, guys. I'm talking too much about Vancouver right now. So we're not gonna. This is the last I'm gonna say about it. Let's talk about Philly, the response, and we'll see. Again, we're playing another great team in this league. But you know, again, we're gonna show up and we're gonna prepare our guys as best as possible, and we're gonna give our fans everything we have. Or everything they have, and you know that's a start.
You spoke about anger and about playing hungry. Could you see that in these last training sessions heading into Saturday's game, like them being angry in practice, you know, gearing up for Saturday's game?
I'm an emotional coach, and I believe in grit and anger, and this is not just that. That just has to be there. It's not anger. It's just the intensity, right? You know, again, it's following game plan. It's the intensity in the moments. It's habits. So this is all part of that intensity that I talk about. It's not just angry. It's not just going out and kicking people and getting set pieces that then up costing you the other way, right? Or getting red cards that put us in a bad state. But so, that make sure, I hope I'm being clear in that, in what that actually means.
On the defensive end, had a lot of injuries to the, defensive line. Do you think you found your center back pairing, or you and the coaching staff still talking about who makes the best center back pairing for the rest of the season?
Well, it's either Pablo, Ethan, or Femi. Those are the only three I have. I got some other guys that play it occasionally, right? So, yeah, I think so. But again, there's an energy component to this too, right? You get a lot of games, and some guys aren't used to playing 3 games in a row, and sometimes you got to make some changes. So we got 3 guys that can play there. We got a few others that we can make shift, but I'm not. Ethan's doing fine. I think Pablo's, game by game getting more comfortable in the role and what we're asking of him. And Ethan's played enough games in this league to for us to win games with. And I think over the course of the last 3 or 4 games, he's done a good job.